pressure around here is pretty insane. I live in a high people density area, and you know, it's nothing to come to a parking lot and there's 5 or 10 cars there. Yet I'm still killing big bucks. Now, I need to seek out certain types of properties around here because of that pressure if I want to hunt mature bucks. So I'm basically in this area, I'm seeking out swampy areas because water deters people, and I'm seeking out areas of vast, just nasty tangles where people really can't hunt ways most people hunt. It gives them room to grow up. And what I mean by that is if you take gun hunters going through there doing deer drives, you fill the area up with gun hunters, how many of those deer are going to reach maturity? So I'm looking for areas where I look at that and I'm like, you know what? I know that this is growing mature bucks. There's no way the people hunting this are killing every deer before they get to 4, 5, or 6 years old. There has to be something good here. Within those areas, there's usually like wooded ridges and places where you can get to. Access might be easy, access might be a little bit difficult, but those places are going to get lots of pressure around the outside in these wooded areas, fingering down in the points, going down into these swamps in heavy pressure areas. And sometimes you just got to dive in a little. But sometimes if you go in too far, there can be just an area of just solid water or underwater cattails, but there's generally a buffer zone. No man's land. And no man's land is an area that has some trees you can hunt out of, has the bedding deer need, but there's no hunting pressure. And you can usually tell those places because they're really often isn't garbage, there isn't trees set up, and you start to know you're in the zone. So we're just entering the woods to scout it. This is a swamp we had a little bit of success on last year, and we're coming in here to look at the back side of it. This year we don't expect the acorns to drop like they did last year, and we're looking at where the deer might be coming out of this swamp heading towards crops. We haven't seen this side yet. Eric saw a little bit of it, but I didn't get over to this end. But coming back here, we've barely got, into the woods, and Eric spotted something. What did you spot?
This wooden stand in the tree with what looks like a ladder system made out of paracord, and it does not look like it would be fun to climb up that nor down it. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a little janky.
Looks like he's using this, and then climbing that, and then climbing this. He's got little steps in there and loops. He doesn't value his life as much as I do.
Yeah, we need some bee sticks. Well, you can't even get bee sticks on here, but
And you really look at
I guess
this.
that's kind of the way to climb it. But I wonder why go through all that hassle for where he's set up here. I'm sure he sees deer, but
Yeah,
I
but-
know by experience he's not seen the bucks that are in here.
Well, you look at this. I mean, why would you hunt here? What reason? What puts deer here? There's some oak trees here, but there's oak trees everywhere,
Yeah.
and there really isn't no funnel. There's no points. There's no nothing. No land features. There's nothing to put the deer here over 50 yards from here.
He probably saw something good at one point in time and he kept coming back.
Yeah, an oak tree. You could put his ladder system in. That's what he saw.
Yeah.
I don't even see a rub. It's kind of a weird spot. Should be a fun day though.
Yeah.
So let's hit it.
Getting into some brand new stuff.
Go ahead and turn it off. So now we went through some wet, nasty stuff, and we're just starting to get into the swamp, and we got into this little oak island. And this is actually where Eric hunted back here. And there's a blind here now. Wasn't here when Eric was here. You can see some wear behind it. Might have even been squirrel hunters. But there are some decent rubs here. Like back here. I saw a fresh one over here. This one's pretty high. I mean, a buck could actually bend that over though. But if you look, it's broken way up here.
But you would have to start at that height to even get it bent over, right?
Yeah, you'd think it would start down here.
Right.
Yeah, and it's broken way up here. Kind of interesting. Now, what did you see back here?
So I saw, I think it was like 6 different deer. I had a decent fourth come up through the middle over here. Probably 30 yards off from where we are, and I had a bunch of nubbies come up onto this point. I don't remember why I would have set up in that tree. I think it was because I didn't really see any good trails coming through here, like they're actually using that point to funnel up. The trails kind of made more sense that they came right off of this side.
And that's where
here.
they came to you.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what I would see looking at the map. It looks like the bedding's going to start just as this starts getting thick down here. I think that's where we got to kind of look for bedding. But I can see how they would get to this oak ridge right here, stop and eat. I mean, this isn't a bad area.
And it just had been raining acorn.
Yeah. Looks like a good area. So I think we just got to dive in here and find where these bucks are bedding and how they're coming through here. We got the crops over there. I think they're just going to come out like this. We got to find the main trails and travel patterns through here.
This certainly holds the cover. I mean, look at this. It's winter time. Look how thick that is in there.
Let's dive in.
Really season or something.
We're only in about 50 yards from those trees where Eric set up, and we're already finding the beds on the trail. I mean, look at this bed here. You can see the hairs right in it from being used recently. And you can see it's compressed. We might even kick the deer out of here because this is really compressed. Usually it pops up a day or so after bedding. That one's used too over there and over there, and you can see where they're sitting based on the wind. You know, for whatever wind it is, they just move around a spot. But all these little high spots like this, when we get to the next set of trees, and the next set of trees are probably all going to have beds, and this is going to be a bedding area. So what I want to find in here is I want to find big buck sign, and then find some heavy trails going off this way. We already have that island where Eric hunted. We want to find if there's anything going off that way through those tamaracks, because that's going to be headed towards the crops. So we're going to go in here and look at this bedding a little bit, but then we're going to look at how they come out of this bedding. I can see right away it's going to be hard to hunt in this stuff because there is just a ton of deer beds and sign everywhere. I mean, you get in here and there is feces and beds and stuff everywhere, and rubs, and this is just pounded. So it's going to take some ripping apart, but it's amazing how much sign is in here. Obviously, there's a lot of deer in here.
A lot of deer.
Yeah.
It's pretty monotonous terrain, so we got to try to stick to those features, little islands. Around that lake might be kind of interesting.
Yep.
Where you mentioned those cattails before.
Yeah.
And all those tags or whatever they are. So
Yeah.
we'll have to check that out.
And literally, this is the only spot I've hunted in probably 10 years where I've seen 25 deer in one sit. So I think this is a pretty good number of deer here. So it's a matter of being careful not to push into them too much and kick them all out of here. You could have a stampede. We got this heavy trail coming out of that bedding we found over there, right up this tamarack tree line, right through here, around here and through, and then we got this really heavy trail here coming in out of this bowl, bedding bowl, and they're going up into that little oak ridge where Eric saw the buck, the small buck, when he hunted out here, and he had something big come in at dark. So we're marking this tree right here because that would be a good spot to cut these trails off. Now, we're not finding a huge amount of big buck sign, but there's bucks out here. I mean, we got them on camera last year.
We'll call it dead. Oh yeah, it's dead. It's pretty dead.
Smells like butt.
It's probably a butt wipe.
Want to taste it?
No, I really don't.
So we've got that oak ridge behind us that we walked in on that had the hunter sign on it and stuff. And this area gets hunted pretty heavy, but from what I've seen from the sign, all the hunters are hunting in the woods where there's good trees and, you know, up in the oaks. Down here, I don't think anybody's hunting. And this has got to be where these bucks are bedding. If you look at this, you got trees mixed in with cattails, mixed in with water where people really don't go much. And every tree we look at has beds underneath it, right? And this area is going to fill up with deer at different times. And it isn't that big of an area, you know, and I think they're going to be along this edge in here. And they're going to go off this way towards crops and acorns and stuff. And so what we want to do is just kind of stay back where there's trees we can hunt out of on the fringe of this and find spots we can slip into and hunt. So let's just follow this timber back like this. If you kind of look, I mean, look at what we have here. We're just mixed little tiny trees. But as we get over here, we have a transition that's hard to see, but it's got tamaracks. These tamaracks are what I want to walk and see if there's a spot where we can find a stand spot where they come up out of this stuff before they get to where the pressure is. Because right now, how far do you think we are from hunters? 150, 200 yards.
150 yards, I would say.
Yeah.
At this point.
So right in here is where you can have daylight movement. So let's just follow this transition here that's in from those hunters. And I haven't seen a bottle, a can, nothing that indicates, not even a footprint, not even somebody looking for sheds, that indicates anybody's coming back here.
Early season, this has got to be pretty tough to get through, and I think that's what's holding a lot of people out of here. I mean, this is going to be, these cattails, as you know, are going to be this tall. This grass is going to be that tall. It's not going to be easy to navigate through here.
Yeah. Okay, when we were walking through here to get to this point, this timber point we wanted to look at, right on the edge of it over here, we walked through some pretty good sign. In here, on this point, I have one real heavy trail coming in like this, and one real heavy one coming in like this. But on this trail here, it comes back through, there's a whole bunch of sign. Follow me over here once. And this trail here, covered in features. Pretty heavy trail. I think it's got fresh deer tracks on it. Goes through here. There's another one coming through here. There's a trail going through here pretty heavy. There's a trail coming through right here. Another one over there. Everything comes in range of this tree right here. Now the only thing that's an issue is a west wind would blow right into these deer. But that's this whole section we're looking at here won't work for west winds. So I think that's going to keep a lot of people out of here. And you see that tree has not been hunted. And this section just has a lot of the movement right here around this bedding. So I'm really liking that tree. We'll mark that. And we could have straight south, straight north, or straight east. Anything from north to south and around that whole spectrum behind us, we could hunt.
I mean, the last few seasons, it seems like we've had a lot of east winds early season.
Absolutely.
Too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would expect that this year.
Yeah, I like this. And that's going to be right on the direction coming from bedding, going to food. All right.
Yeah, this is a good spot.
Well, the dogwood is chewed off. Actually fairly freshly too. Here's a bed right here, pretty good one. Another one right there. Not seeing a lot of giant rubs, but we are seeing a lot of rubs. And on that island, there's actually higher ones. So, I don't know. The number of bucks we saw just back here, I have to think there's bucks coming through here. So.
There's got to be. I mean, there's high deer density, and with that, typically you got a few nice bucks. So.
Yep. Here's a pretty big historical rub. Both sides of the tree. And there's a higher rub right here. What do you got over there?
Got a rub from the deer.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Definitely a 2-year-old.
So,
If he made her.
I think there's some good bucks back here. I mean, there probably isn't something from what I've seen that's like 5 or 6 years old, but there's probably a few that are going to be 3-year-olds this year, especially considering the number of 2-year-olds we saw last year back here. So
I mean, we have the terrain. They got to be out there somewhere.
I agree. I agree. So let's just keep looking.
Yeah.
Let's get to some really remote stuff, eh?
Yep, that's what I want to do.
All right. So we've gotten back. We're about probably, what do you think, 2.5 miles from the truck?
2.5, yeah.
And this is getting pretty nasty, dense, thick. But we're on some pretty heavy deer trails. And I mean, looking at this whole area is like this. I mean, you can go for miles of this. I don't think there's any way there's not mature deer back here. There has to be. Yeah. I mean, there's no way hunters could get back here and kill them all.
Well, and we kept expecting to see a deer crossing across the trail that we took in, and we weren't seeing that because I don't see any reason to come out of here. Not here anyway.
Right,
Closer
but you're
to the crops.
you get in here, and this is just pounded with tracks.
Yep.
And there is a lot of food. There's a lot of dogwood and brush in here. And coming through this stuff, I mean, you see these little piles of brush, and you can tell that these areas are going to be bedding areas. I don't know how the heck you hunt them, though. There's a couple trees you could maybe get into, but you wouldn't get very high. And putting an arrow through this stuff would be very difficult. Right. I do like those trees over there. We got to get to that where they taper down to a point, which is why we came back here in the first place, to look at that point. But we got to walk past this bedding, so we're going to look at it. I mean, there's some pretty heavy trails back here.
Saw that rubber there?
Oh yeah, look at that. There's a pretty good one. Probably a 2-year-old based on height, but now we're into bucks. What do you see over there?
This looks like a really good bedding area right in here. Everything is just matted down. I mean, it's 10 yards long. It's almost like a little micro island.
Lead the way. Just where you come out of the water. Oh wow, this is just matted down. There's beds in here all over the place. As soon as you come up out of the water.
Look how fresh this is. They're probably using this now. Look
Yeah.
right here.
Wouldn't doubt if we find some antlers back here.
Imagine early season right here. How does anything get to a buck that would be bedded right here?
Right.
We just got done saying, how do you hunt this?
Right? This would be pretty hard to hunt.
Now I'm a little more interested in that, but maybe not necessarily.
I'm more interested in what's going on in that point. Because I think a lot of these deer might be going to that point and then going down.
Right.
That point might be the area, but we certainly ain't coming this way to that point because we walk right through these deer. So we might have to go through back there to over to that point and down towards the end of it. But let's see if the deer are actually going there. I'm willing to bet we find beds all the way through here, through these dead ash trees and stuff. That's got to be a little island there. It's going to be the same as this,
Right.
even bigger.
I like this because we didn't expect a whole lot coming in here. We were kind of thinking, oh, it's looking worse and worse, right? We weren't seeing a lot of trails off of the trail we took in
Right.
here, but now,
But suddenly
All
you
of a
get back
sudden-
to this really remote area and it's just full of sign.
yep.
We got this little point of dead ash here that we're just looking at from back there. You get over here and there's just heavy, heavy trails in from every direction coming into here. Man, if a guy could get into one of these old dead trees, that one over there has got a little bit of life to it. A guy might be able to get into.
That leader?
Yeah. Because there's sure a lot of sign here. It'd be a heck of a hunt to get into here, but without spooking deer. It'd almost be a better morning spot.
Yeah, that's about the only way you can enter, and that would be coming in on from the south, right? That's
Yeah. If a guy could get in here in the morning, that tree would not be bad. And then you could use the west wind because they'd be coming from the east, you know what I mean?
right. Unless you're hunting that bedding.
Yeah, well, they might come right through here. Look at these trails coming through here.
Yeah.
I mean, this trail is just incredible.
But a west is straight out.
Yeah, well, you just got to shoot them before they get to it. But they're even bedding right here. I mean, this is a bed right here, bed right there. This is all bedding. Even right underneath that tree is one of the best beds yet. There's a bed there. Look at this bed. There's hair all over in it too from right now.
Oh my gosh.
This bed is just, this is right where the tree is.
Yep.
So as we came in through that red brush and stuff, getting in here, looking at these little beds as we're getting started, you can see that there's more and more of this terrain going through here, and all of it surrounds that point. I'm saying that point is going to be where all these deer come out of here.
Yep.
And in the evening, that's going to be the spot. It's just a matter of how we get to it.
Right.
What do you think?
It's going to be difficult to access. I think it's got to be like a north wind.
I think you can kill a good buck in there, though.
Wind this way,
Yep.
straight down your access, and get right into that point.
Whoever
we
ki-
got to try to find a way. Maybe on the way out, coming out of here, we should figure something out.
Whoever
for
kills the
access.
buck on that thing, though, his friends are going to hate him.
No doubt.
So as we're coming out of the bed, and you can just see the trails spidering into this point. What is that? You see that? Something under the ice there. Grass. I found me a grass.
Yeah,
Did you find a grass?
found a lot of grass.
Oh, I thought it was special. We're on that tamarack point, and the bedding's over in there, out there, and it's thick as hell in here. Thicker than I would have thought. But there's one trail right through the middle of it that is just pounded. And this is obviously the buck trail where they can get their rack through. You can kind of see it. Comes into this opening, and then it starts to spread out a little bit and goes around by James, and there's a fairly decent rub over by James there. And I'm thinking that tree there. What do you think, James? Right up there? That's a pretty good spot because you'd cover everything coming out of that bedding. I think this is really good. The trick is going to be getting back here. Yeah, and we cover it from that tree. So I think that tree covers just about everything. And I think from a height up there, you'll probably be able to see and hear deer from all the way around you. James has another rub there. Is it a good one? Okay. So what do you think of that trail you're coming in on? That's got to be the buck trail, right?
It's coming right up the gut, yep. Just like we kind of anticipated.
Right, and with how thick it is, they almost have to stay on that trail after a buck, right?
There's probably 6 or 8 pretty good beds over there.
Yeah.
No antlers, but that's where they're
I have to think this is where the bucks are popping out. Right here. Right here's the spot to be. And I think that tree right there, and there's another trail coming in over here, and there's some big rubs over here where the union of the trails is.
Oh yeah, sure enough.
So I like this spot. We should mark this tree and maybe even look at it a little closer. And James is kind of looking around the backside now. He said there's a trail coming in from over there.
Okay.
And this trail kind of turns here and goes this way, but some of it kind of filters that way too.
Mm-hmm.
So that tree is pretty good. It's just a matter of how we get back here, right?
Right.
See, here's a good rub here.
Yeah, we don't know what bedding is over here yet. On our way out, we'll know. But
This is definitely the buck tracks, trails though.
yeah.
Yeah, here's another heavy trail here, and it's marked. See how they're marking the union, meaning there's more than one buck going through here there.
Yep.
Yeah, this is pretty heavy too. So this is our tree. You like it?
I do. My only concern is that you're right on top of them.
On this trail?
On this trail.
I think the main one's over there.
Right.
But I would think over there, if you look over there, there's openings above this stuff. You're gonna get a shot at them. They're gonna turn and they're gonna give you a shot before they get over here. So I like this tree a lot.
It'd be better too.
See, look at how thick this is. Deer can go through here everywhere and they'll live in this stuff, but bucks are gonna follow these open trails like this where they can get their racks through. And then look, what do you see? All along here, rubs. And these are pretty high up. We're finding better sign back here than we were up front, that's for sure. And there are tracks back here like crazy on these trails. I mean, old rubs on here. So we get a little ways back from where that tree was, which is over there on the point, and it gets more openly grassy on this island, and a lot more buck sign with rubs all over and heavy trails, and literally more sign in here than we had over at the tree we're looking at hunting. But it's so scattered in here, you'd really have a hard time hunting it. They could come from any direction. We're up there, you know where they're coming from. They're coming from that pristine bedding, which I think is better than anything bedding around here. But I still think we got to hunt the same spot, even though there's this much sign back here.
James found something.
What do you see?
Decent that way.
A rub?
Yeah, and that small tamarack back there.
Oh yeah, look at that. There's a pretty big rub back there. It seems to me like this area back here, we're so remote, would be a pressure area. Mm-hmm. You know, put the deer back here like into October, November. But you were saying you'd like to hunt this early season more, and
Yeah, I think it would be worth giving it a shot. It has the cover that a good buck needs to survive.
what I'm noticing is a lot of these rubs, you can hardly see them. They're obviously from very early in the season.
Yeah.
So that just tells me that this probably is a good early season spot.
They don't need to get out of here until it's late to go feed on something else besides this red rose here.
Yeah.
We got a lot of stuff to mow on, you know, coming out of here for the evening.
They're definitely taking this island out of here too, because this is an easy route. When you get off of this island, it's so thick you got to fight through it.
Yep.
And there are a lot of rubs in here.
Yeah,
There's a high one right there. There's a high one right there. Whoa, that's a pretty good one. Stand next to that. Where's the center of it? Well, that's definitely at least a 3-year-old buck. Nice. There's a pretty good rub. Right there. Another one there. A lot of historical ones here too.
pretty good looking rub, huh?
Yeah, that could be 4 years old.
That's fresh this year.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. There's a lot of real good ones like right up there that we were just looking at.
Yeah, I saw the one that you guys were.
And there's a whole bunch of historical ones there too.
Okay.
So wherever this trail is coming to and from, we probably need to know.
Yep, I would agree. I think we got to take.
So I think before we walk where we're intended, let's see where this comes out of. This whole trail has historical and big rubs on it, and even some fresh ones, you know. There's something big in this end of the swamp, that's for sure. So we followed this trail that we found these big rubs on back, and it has historical big rubs and fresh big rubs. Rubs from last year, the year before, and fresh. And coming right through here, but it hits a human trail just up here. We followed it back in here. We didn't find no sign of any other deer and not a lot of deer, but obviously something big is coming through here every year at some time period. So I think it's worth hunting. It's just a matter of when. And we looked at this, and it just kind of bottoms out here. And I'm sure if we went out here, we'd find the same as we always find. Underneath those tamaracks there'd be some beds and stuff. I'd be willing to bet this trail goes to beds right underneath those 3 trees. I mean, without a doubt. So this is where you'd want to hunt, but there really ain't a lot of sign. I don't think anybody else would hunt here, unless they're just hunting rubs. And there ain't a fresh one here. There's a couple of real big historical ones here. But it'd probably be the edge of darkness, because only 100 yards up he's crossing a human trail. But I think he's coming out right there, staging right here. We got some good trees that are already pretty open. I don't think this is bad. It's, you know, give it a shot, right?
Yeah, I think it's well worth this hit. Absolutely. We got some sign coming in and out of here telling us that this is exactly where he's coming out. So
Right. It's just a matter of
Gotta
exactly when. You know what I think we should do now is kind of take a look at those rubs back there and see how fresh they look. And try to determine what time of the year they were made. I don't see much sign now. Tell me it wasn't any time recent that he's doing that.
yeah, to me it looked like a rut rub.
Could
Maybe-
be rut, it could be early season, but we were in here early season and I didn't see that sign.
Yeah.
So probably towards the beginning of October, but you know, there was an awful lot of does back there
Yeah.
when we were hunting back there.
Right.
So I think you're right, probably mid-October,
Yeah. October 15th. to the
Yeah.
end of October. Yep.
which I think you're getting some pressure back here, but not right here.
Right. Yeah, this looks like nothing right here.
Yeah, I like it. So you can still see the bark on the ground, but that's been a while, right? I wouldn't doubt if that's like just before rut, on October 15th. Hard to really say. That could be early season. But I mean, I was in here early season, didn't notice that. But I see a big rub over there too that we didn't see before. A pretty big high one.
Yep.
And we saw a bunch over there. So I think he's coming out right here, going over this hill. And where we were seeing all the does is right over there. I mean,
Probably
I
what
was
he's
seeing
doing.
10, 20 of them a night.
There's another lower one to the ground that's fresher.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, this amount of rubbing too, it almost has to be that he's after does. So I'm thinking it's going to be just prior to rut.
Right.
Or right behind James, that tree's hit. That real big tree. Look at that. See the markings on it? They're just not through.
yep.
Wow. Well, we got a good one now.
Something good running this for sure.
Yeah. Let's take a look at some of these rubs.
This lady is what he's doing.
Yeah. See how the trail's kind of spreading out here? That's because the human axis goes across there. He's probably worried about it.
That bark?
Yeah. Not as high as the other ones. That might be a different buck. Yeah. Yeah, this is a different buck. This is lower. This is a 2-year-old. The bigger rubs are over here. So historical. This one's got some fresh marks on it. This one's fresh. Again, that looks like rut time-ish. Yeah, none of these look like early season, Eric. This one's real gray here.
I don't think so. With the early season, I always noticed that mold spores starting to grow.
Yeah.
I think.
So there's a rub there, a rub here. And I did see an early season rub up here. This might even be the one I saw early season. This is really big here.
Yeah. that's a good one. See, now that even looks a little earlier than those do to me.
Stand behind it and show where the center is. See, it's bigger than it looks on camera. Yeah, that's a,
Waste.
yeah, and there's historical ones everywhere. There's a fresh one over there. So now I saw 1 or 2 fresh rubs when I came in here, and now there's a lot of them. See that? So I think as it got closer to rut, probably.
Yep.
So I'm saying early October, this is probably a good spot. I know that people are going to probably hunt right here, but they might not because they're walking right on an axis. The axis is right up this point. They might think it's too obvious, right?
Right.
That tree there is rubbed pretty high too. See that? Really high. Oh, that's teetering to chest high. And hitting over here. And the tines are hitting down in here. Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty ripped up. That's making me really like that spot down there, eh? Oh, look at that. Hourglass, eh? Look at that. From years of rubbing, that tree is just worn down to nothing. Wow. Look at how high that is. Wow.
Yeah, that's another good one.
Okay, we found our buck.
I think there's something bigger. Yeah, there's something bigger in here
Then 3.
than what we thought.
Yeah.
Yep. Safe over here.
So as soon as we get out to mainland, you get on the edge of hardland, just for perspective, then you find hunter sign.
Doesn't look like you made it.
Thought maybe there'd be a head in there. That one needs a little washing. That's pretty disgusting.
You could put that right on.
Might have to. We got to carry it back out of here with us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one. Right here in the bedding area. It's not bad. That's off a 2-year-old, so it tells you to grow into 3, right, or older.
Yeah.
Nice.
You just said it too. I'm surprised there's not one. You just got done saying it 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, I said I'm surprised we don't see any antlers because in this brush you'd think they'd pop off.
I've been looking for them all day.
Yeah.
Real
looks
nice
like-
little bed here.
Looks like it's been there a while. Probably not this year, last year's. This is 2 years old. So we covered, how many miles do you think we covered?
Boy, I bet you we have 5 or 6 on.
I think so. I think so, the whole day. And I would say we added 4 or 5 spots to what we have in here.
Yeah, at least.
But we know the area a lot better now too. So, you know, these vast areas like this, people think that these deer just could be bedding anywhere. But that's not really what we're finding, is it?
No, not really. I mean, they're
There's
kinda,
specific spots when you find the big ones. Even when
Yeah.
we found that big buck sign from year after year, it was in a specific spot coming out of an exact spot.
Yep.
And then the other best spot we found was really remote, where it ends at a point. The only trouble is, how do you drag a deer out that far?
Right.
You know,
Yep.
you got to have Eric on speed dial.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Might have to send James into some of these. He's got that young blood.
Where did you find that feather in your head? Nice. I didn't see that.
It's my shed.
Well, yeah. I mean, they were exactly where we expected. Right off of that point, I would say that's the best area we found today,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
And we definitely confirmed that there's big bucks back here.
I don't see too many people. I mean, you would have to be a heck of a worker to want to go back there to bull hunt.
Yep.
You know, and you got to be pretty serious about it. Die-hard bull hunter to get back there. It's quite
When
a
we
ways.
got way back, I didn't see one nothing.
No.
No sign.
I like that spot. I don't think it's. Yeah, of course, it has been hunted in the past at some point in time, but I don't think
Probably
it's
with
penetrated.
probably with a gun, and you can see where somebody has made a trail back there or two, but they're all very, very old, and I don't see any of those trees set up. I'd imagine every now and then somebody gets back in there with a gun,
Yeah. Yep.
or they just go walking with a gun.
You know, and
but,
even at that, that's a tough gun hunt in there. I mean, it is so thick in there. I think people definitely get through there from time to time, but it's not often. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And coming into there, it was so thick, we couldn't see deer trails from where we were trying to get into there, and we didn't think it looked very good. we thought there might not be much out there for deer, but it took diving in there and, you know, just boots on the ground, and I'm happy with what we got into, definitely.
You know what? Part of the excitement of the hunt is not just going out hunting and killing deer, but it's finding those spots and the anticipation, and then seeing what happens when you get out there. Even if you don't kill one, just the excitement of knowing where you're going. And I mean, most people wouldn't have a plan, wouldn't have a spot pre-set up. They just go wandering back there if they even get back that far, which is pretty rare.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said I enjoy the scouting as much as I do the hunting.
It's always cool to look forward to something, and I would look forward to giving a spot like that a hunt.
Yeah, definitely. If we nail that with the right timing, somebody's gonna kill something there.
Right. Well, that's every spot.
It's all there.
It's all a matter of timing.
Nice.
There's one. Nice. Nice.